So we are in the final battle of the series here, or I guess both of them, with Yuka and Maharaga taking on Dabura, and then later on, we're going to see Tsurugi taking on Maru. And in the beginning of this chapter, we're getting some exposition on Yuka and her use of the Ten Shadows. So apparently her using it outright was banned by the Gojo clan, and that she was only permitted to use aspects of the Shikigami, which explains why she was doing like the biting twist and all the other stuff that we saw earlier on in the series. She is a part of the Gojo clan, because at the end of the original series, Yuta took over the Gojo clan. But now that Yuta has died, we saw him die of old age, I guess, in the first chapter, they're taking over it again, and they're banning her from using it outright because it's not explained. I don't think it's going to be explained. Maybe they're trying to keep some kind of balance, or they're being authoritative just for the sake of being authoritative, or they just don't want her to summon Maharaga, because Maharaga is being mentioned directly after this statement. And it basically says that he was deemed impossible to tame, and that the only person in history who was able to tame him was Sukuna. And we already kind of knew that, because I think the only other time in the series that another Ten Shadows user besides Megumi and Yuka is mentioned is when Gojo is talking to Megumi in that flashback in the original series, and he says, and I'm paraphrasing, but like 400 years ago, the head of the Gojo clan, who had the Six Eyes and Limitless, just like Gojo, fought against the head of the Zenin clan, who had the Ten Shadows. And he doesn't outright say it, but it's pretty much implied that the Ten Shadows user summoned Maharaga, and he wound up killing both of them. And then going further, it says that like Maharaga, he only exists because it's like a last-ditch effort to like kill your opponent and yourself too, I guess, if you know that you can't win, something like that. And I have more questions about this, Maharaga and the Ten Shadows in general, but it doesn't really matter. It's never going to be explained, so I just won't waste my time talking about it. But anyway, it says that this time the ritual includes Dabura and Yuka, which, as we saw in the previous chapter, as Yuka was getting airlifted into Tokyo to fight against Dabura, she just summoned Maharaga and went directly into the shadow. And it says that she's currently in suspended animation, and that the ritual only ends with the death of Dabura or the destruction of Maharaga, making her death inevitable. And I don't know if she's necessarily holding her breath in there, because I'm pretty sure in the original series, when Megumi was fighting against Reggie said that there was no oxygen in the shadows. So I don't know if she's going into some kind of weird hibernation mode or something like that, and she's just chilling in there for the fight to be over. I don't know. But Dabura is continuing to like light up Maharaga with his manifestation of killing intent, which is just light pillar things. Hey, also guys, can we try to get 3,000 likes on this video? Take that phone, hit the like button. It'll really help the video, and it'll help me too. Thanks guys, I appreciate it. But Maharaga is continuing to regenerate, and his wheel is spinning, meaning that he's continuing to adapt to it. He's slowly figuring out how to overcome it. And then for like a little moment, they get into just an exchange of strikes, with Maharaga just kicking Dabura away, but then Dabura like lights him up more with his manifestation of killing intent. I'm sorry, I just think it's funny how Gege is just trying to make this more interesting than it actually is. I mean, it's cool, of course, but I guess he realized that like just saying Dabura fires like light beams is kind of boring. So many characters have this ability that he was just wanted to add some spice to it by saying like, no, it's not just an energy beam like the other characters have. It's the manifestation of his killing intent that a human such as yourself couldn't even comprehend to put into words. But he winds up firing like this huge Dragon Ball Z-esque beam at Maharaga, but Maharaga eats it. I mean, it takes off like half of his body, but he regenerates from it still. So it seems like Dabura is trying to take out Maharaga with just one attack. Like, he's not trying to use multiple or, trying to have a good fight or whatever. Because I think we already kind of got that vibe from Dabura immediately, that he's not the type of guy who kind of like messes around or has like a warm up or plays with his food or whatever. He just goes straight for the kill immediately. So it seems like if he could have killed Maharaga already, he would have done it. Because, we were talking about this before. That's the only way that you can really stop Maharaga. You have to like kill him instantly. You have to kill him with one big shot to where he's vaporized, ? Or get him to the point of where he can't regenerate. Because if you don't, he's going to just keep adapting until he defeats you. Because we saw that's what Sukuna and Gojo did. Sukuna hit him with the Fuga, and Gojo hit him with the hollow purple. But first, guys, I just got the best Christmas present ever, and that's the new Hovsko Hov GTRS Ultra moped-style electric bike. First of all, just look at this thing. It is incredibly cool. It's like the coolest e-bike I've ever seen. It's got a 1500 watt power motor, a top speed of 32 miles per hour. That is incredibly fast. And it has a range of 65 miles, but if you get the dual battery, it goes up to 150 miles. It has powerful front and rear brakes, a sweet headlight and tail lights, an LCD display, and a Shimano 7-gear shifter. This thing is so much fun. Whether you want to just pedal around or just crank down on the throttle and have an incredible ride. You can easily cruise through the street, some trails, the forest, or if you just want to go up a hill, it has no problem doing that. This is for sure my new daily commuter, especially because I don't have a car. Why would I need one if I have this? So guys, if you're looking for an incredible Christmas present for you or a loved one, check the link in the description and make sure you use my code BIGZ for $100 off. Thanks. Also, we're seeing like some of Dabura's crazy physical strength in this chapter. Like he throws a part of a building at Maharaga. And I wonder, it's like, have we seen physical strength on this level in this series before, or at least in the original series? And I wonder if Sukuna was this strong. Granted, I'm probably forgetting one of the many sequences in Sukuna's gauntlet, like the big last 30 chapters of the series where everyone is fighting him slowly. But this is pretty impressive physical strength for Jujutsu Kaisen. But Maharaga catches the building and he kind of just brute forces through it. And he's like, assuming it's not invincible, there has to be something more to it. And he winds up like blowing its freaking head off, but it still comes back after that. And then he realizes that, oh, every time it resurrects, the wheel turns. So he's slowly figuring out that it's adapting to his abilities and figuring out how to overcome him. So I guess in the next chapter, when we come back to this fight, he'll change up his strategy, because this is where the fight ends in this chapter. Like, we're gonna go into Tsurugi versus Maru at this point. And I also talked about this before, but it's like, where does this go? I mean, Maharaga like isn't going to defeat Dabura. That would kind of be anticlimactic, I guess, if he does. But is Gege just gonna kind of redo what he did in the original series with like letting Sukuna sit back and figure out how Maharaga adapts to his opponent, like with Gojo, and then once he sees what he does, then he just mimics that, you know, like with the world cutting slash. He was like, oh, okay, I see. All you have to do is just manipulate cursed energy at a molecular level. So is Yuka like doing that in the shadow? Like she's just going to observe how Maharaga is going to adapt to Dabura, and then she'll be like, oh, that's all I need to do. I just need to manifest more of killing intent than he does. Then again, it's like Yuka isn't that skilled of a sorcerer to be able to analyze and improvise the way that Sukuna did. But maybe she did that crazy binding vow that made her buff up to beyond special grade level or something in exchange for the rest of her lifespan, maybe. I guess we'll see what happens, but now we're coming to Tsurugi versus Maru, and they're like in their sword fight here, and we're finding out that Maru is using Cross's sword, and he's seeing the difference in their strength because he's getting a taste of what heavenly restriction is, which Tsurugi has. Maru was like skeptical of Tsurugi's heavenly restriction. Now he realizes it's like, oh, you get a substantial physical buff from having no cursed energy, but also because of that, he can't read his moves. Because normally when your opponent is using cursed energy, you can pick up on what they're doing because of that. You can just read the energy itself. But since he doesn't have that, every attack is like a surprise attack, which is funny because it's like, oh, you're just having like a normal fight now. But Tsurugi also has the best of both worlds because he also kind of has like a cursed technique using his cursed tool, because it has like that firepower to it and it has simple domain. And he is getting the upper hand on Maru here. Like he actually like rocks him. He knocks him down. I guess he wins the first round here, you could say. Then as he's knocked down, he asks Maru like, hey, just have Dabura leave the planet. The death curse that's on his sister, I doubt its range extends upon the planet. And then he also says that if Dabura's gone, that the Maharaga ritual will like be voided. I guess that's how it works. If your opponent just leaves, then Maharaga's like, all right, I guess I'm done. Sorry about that. Never mind, guys. But then Maru's like, no, Dabura can't leave. If he even gets close to the range of the Diskunte leader, then the curse can take over. But it's like you're already super far away from Samoria. Like they're over 2 years away. We don't know how many light years they went, but they went pretty far. So it's like, how long is the range of this ability? It spans light years? And yes, I realize this means that they would have to find another planet to live on, which they say that it's not guaranteed. I mean, it was hard for them to find Earth in the first place, you know, like we said, 2 years, so they'd have to go through all of that again. But they're also not even supposed to be here in the first place, and with them taking over Tokyo with all of the cursed spirit Kallian nonsense, which I'll talk more about, kind of just irks me. Or maybe this is just a social commentary on colonization, possibly. But also, like, the curse is tied to Dabura himself, as well as his sister, because, like, in theory, he can just have his sister go somewhere else. Dabura can just go back to Samoria and kill the chief. Because it says that it activates when the chieftain dies or when Dabura defies the chieftain's orders. So if she is out of the range of it, which I guess she should be now, like I said, there's no way that it spans freaking light years, unless I guess it does, but he could just send her to Earth or send her somewhere else and then just kill the chieftain, and then it should be over. And even if there is some kind of post-mortem jujitsu stuff going on, they just don't ever have to return to Samoria. I don't know why Dabura just didn't kill the chief and send off his sister in the first place, because it's kind of implied that no one can take Dabura, not even the rest of the Deskunte. So just have his sister go to Earth and then just have Dabura do what Maki did to the Zenin clan, but just with the Deskunte. Or at least all of the Deskunte that were on board with the chief. But I guess it's like a double linked binding vow curse thing. I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter. Maru also brings up that the black rope could have helped, like, you know, the cursed tool that Miguel uses, which is the same as the reverse horn of heaven. It's just a rope. It shuts down curse techniques. But then he's like, it's too late for that, isn't it? And it's like, technically it's not. You guys are rushing into this duel because you're like bending over backwards for the Rumelians, for them to just shoehorn themselves into being these cursed spirit activists, you know, to save them because they think they're their Kallians, even though that doesn't make sense. And it never did. And they had 2 months to prepare for all of this. Their whole planning was just like, I guess we'll see what happens. I hope they don't challenge us to a duel or whatever. I guess we'll just have Yuka summon Maharaga because she's dying anyway. Those 2 months, you could have just went to Africa and got the black rope. And even if you're not going to get the black rope for whatever reason, you could have used those 2 months to find Yuji. But it's obviously not going to happen because we only have a couple chapters left in the series at this point. And the remainder of those chapters are going to take up, you know, these 2 fights playing out and then whatever the epilogue is. But then Tsurugi's ultimately like, okay, if I win Maru, you just leave the planet. Let's take it on like a duel. Then Maru, while he's laying there, is thinking how Dabura was feeling when he was fighting Dora, because Dabura didn't want to kill Dora. Dora was like his really good friend, if not his best friend, ? He was kind of like forced to kill him for multiple reasons, you know, one of them being the sister curse thing. But Maru's like, you know, I'm afraid of losing my friends too. I don't want to kill Tsurugi, but I feel like I'm forced to at this point. And then suddenly his third eye starts talking to him. It's like, you call yourself a warrior? You dare belittle Tsurugi in this way? And then he's just like instantly convinced by it. He's like, oh, you know what? You're right. All right, Tsurugi, let's fight to the death. And this is interesting because we didn't really know that the third eye had a mind of its own. I mean, there were some hints to it. Like when we saw, it was like chapter 6, I think, when Maru was fighting against Keita. He like went unconscious and then the third eye took over and like fought for him. So that's, I guess, coming full circle here. But not only that, but Maru is seemingly activating his curse technique too. And it says that Maru's and Cross's curse technique are chaos and harmony. So I don't know if this means that their individual curse techniques are chaos and harmony, like one has chaos and one has harmony, or they both have the same curse technique, or 2 which are both chaos and harmony, because that would make sense as well, because at the end of the chapter here, we see like Maru essentially manipulating gravity. And we saw that before, like when he was knocked unconscious, gravity was manipulated. And we were like, okay, that's definitely a part of his technique. But also in the first chapter, he told us that his curse technique was like finding what's closest to your heart, which I guess is the harmony one. So I guess this is what chaos is. Gravity manipulation, possibly, or telekinesis. And that would also make sense because both of them are piloting the ship. Like the ship works because of them. So I guess using chaos and harmony synergistically is how the ship worked. The ship using harmony was finding Earth, like finding a civilization and a planet that was compatible with the Sumerians. And then the chaos, gravity manipulation, is what allowed it to traverse space-time or just interstellarly travel light years, I guess. So he's using chaos against Tsurugi here. And I guess that's going to take us into round 2 in the next chapter. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments, guys. If you liked it, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.